What is up, Lumineers? Today I'm going to be going over how I won this PSA 9 Enchanted Elsa Spirit of Winter. It's going to be great. Let's get into it. First, I want to give a big shout out to Archangel Games for hosting this World's Watch Party tournament. It was about 29 players in Little Rock, Arkansas. There were players from all over. We had people from Fort Smith, Memphis, locally. It was a great time. I'm so excited to be back to making content. I took a little break around set 7 just because, life got busy. I didn't really have time for the game. We moved apartments. There's just been a lot going on, but I'm so excited to be back to playing Lorcana, making Lorcana videos. So for this tournament, this is definitely the most high stakes tournament that I've ever played in. I'm still working my way into the competitive scene, So I had no clue what to play. Traditionally, I've always played Steel Song, but to be honest, it's been letting me down a little bit lately. And I decided to try to branch out and play something a little different. I've been practicing some red blue, some green steel, some blurple, but I just really was having a hard time deciding what in the world am I gonna bring to this tournament because I really wanted to win this Elsa. I wanna give a big thanks to my buddy Ryan. He actually helped me sit down and make like a giant spreadsheet of like all the matchups for red, blue, and blurple, which is what I was trying to decide between. I felt like they were the two strongest decks at the moment with the best matchup spreads, but we ended up deciding that blurple was the way to go. It suited my play style. I was feeling good about it. I was expecting, because of our local meta, I was expecting a lot of Amber Steel aggro and a lot of red blue. And I really thought that, well, that in addition to the green purple, the tempo and the discard, pull the levers, all that kind of stuff that's been running around. I really felt like blurple had a better matchup into green, and I felt like it was good enough against Amber Steel aggro if you could kind of play Bell on one and stabilize with, you've got Elsas and Bells to move damage around and stuff like that. So that's actually why I decided to play blurple. We'll get into the list here in a second. What I was not expecting was almost everyone from Fort Smith that came. There's probably 8 to 10 players from Fort Smith that brought Amber Steel songs, which you probably know is not that great of a matchup for blurple. Just the way the cards and the songs line up, they just have the ability to go wide and take over the board. Monstro kind of helps with that now, but even at that point, you have to draw into it at the right time when they've got all their stuff exerted. So it's a pretty rough matchup, and there was a lot of it in the room, and I got really scared. But luckily, I actually only had to play Amber Steel once throughout the day. So let's get into the deck list. Here's what I was running. There's a couple little techs in there, and I'll tell you more about those here in a minute. But for the most part, it's a stock JDRR list. I did not play the 6-drop Honest. I was testing with that card, and I just could not figure out really how it was supposed to be used. Honestly, I haven't practiced a ton with blurple before this event, and so I guess I wasn't really getting how it was supposed to work with, I guess you play it before Elsa, and then you play Elsa, quest, buff Elsa, and draw a card. But it felt a little clunky to me. I know it's a body you can stick to, but I just wasn't getting the use out of it that I wanted. So I actually ended up cutting those. I am only playing 2 goats. So the first spicy card we can talk about, which it's not too spicy, some people have been running it, but it's the Kita. This card, I didn't play it every time I drew it, but in certain matchups, certain positions, certain board states, this card was extremely good. For example, I played a blue-green deck in round 2. Against blue-green, they're just trying to bounce your cards back to your hand, and then they're gonna discard you. So you're running out of cards and you can't stick anything to the board. Well, this Kita, I could just slap it down, and it's letting me ramp even more. It's a body if I need to use it for Fox, like to get rid of muses or something. But this card, being able to stick, get more value out of my hand and be able to ink, let me stay alive later into the game. After the Bend My Will, my top decks were a lot better because of the Kita. The next non-standard, which used to be standard, but I don't know why nobody's playing this card anymore, is Elsa Spirit of Winter. Jeez, this card was huge in so many games. Just having it as a one-of and being able to draw it in the late game and just lock down their board, that's a huge weakness of blurple, is if they do manage to get late on you and go wide enough, you're kind of done. But if they're not exerted, Monstro's not going to do you any good. So this one of Elsa, there was a lot of games where they had game on board, and I was able to just slap down an Elsa, and exert it and either take their stuff out or just lock them down for another turn so that I had time to win the following turn. And then my last spicy little tech here is a one of Lucky Dime. Guys, this card won me so many games. I don't understand why people are not playing at least one of these Lucky Dimes in Blurple. With Tamatoa, it's so good. You play it for free. And there's like, people don't see it coming. They're like, oh, I'll let his Tamatoa live. He can play one popsicle. And then I slap down a dime for free, a 7-drop uninkable item on the board. It's so good. And then that just makes your deck so inevitable. You know, a lot of times you stabilize and it's a little too late. They've already got enough lore and then they play one character and you don't have a way to kill it and you just die. But with Dime, what happens is decks like red-blue items, which is usually a really tough matchup. Now you've got inevitability where you can get off to a fast start with Genie and Tamatoa and Hades, but then you've also got this extra lore pressure every turn where even if they kill your stuff every turn, you're still gonna get 2 lore because you're playing so many big bodies. So good. Yeah, this Dime really just allowed me to outpace the red-purple players that I played. I ended up playing 4 matches against red-purple, and I only lost 1 of them. So Lucky Dime was the MVP of this deck all day long. It was so good. So let's talk about some of the specific matchups. I'll go through my rounds here. Round 1, I was playing a red-purple shark list against a really good player from our store. He was running 1 or 2, I don't remember, of the Shift Ursulas. It goes really well with the 2-drop that they play to kind of contest the board early. But I was just able to draw cards, play a dime, and just outpace him for the whole game. You know, even after a B prep, I could just play a Tamatoa, draw more cards, activate dime, that kind of thing. So really, I was just, against red-purple, you're super inevitable. You're drawing more cards, you're ramping. So you're both doing purple stuff, but you're doing it better with the blue ramp stuff. So I felt really good against that. Round 2, I played against the blue-green Bend to My Will deck. And to be honest, I was really scared going into it because I did not practice that matchup at all. But I did tech in the Kita because I knew there was going to be some green and some removal stuff that I needed to be able to stick Kita with. So I played Kita on 4, technically on 3 because you're ramping. And it was huge. It just let me keep inking. Even when I ran out of cards, even if they bended me, I was still inking every turn. My top decks were huge. I remember game 2, they actually had my board whittled down pretty good, and they had like a Basil, 2 Basils, a Clarabelle, and I don't know, Muses in play or something like that. And it was getting really close to game on board, and I top decked Hades, and then I was able to go Fox next turn into Hades and stuff. So my top decks were all alive because Kita let me ink so much in the early game. And it was just 1 card they weren't able to bounce back to my hand and bend to will away. So Kita was the MVP against blue-green for sure. Okay, round 3. My only loss of the day was against the guy I ended up playing in the finals. It was a red-purple shark list, and I just did not have it together. Game 1, I just kind of lost the board, and I couldn't deal with their sharks. I guess I never had the answer for shark, and he was going crazy with the lore bursts in game 1. Game 2, I got to go first, and I really just ran over him. Like, I ramped, played Tamatoa, he couldn't kill it, played a dime for free, and then just won the game. Like, it was kind of a non-game. And then game 3, I ran out of cards. I didn't see any card draw, and so there was like nothing I could do, and it was just Brick City. I don't know. But yeah, I felt really bad after that round 3 loss. I was pretty sure if I won that round, I could kind of draw out and just be 3-0-2 and make it to top cut. Maybe try to win another game for seeding purposes, but losing round 3 kind of made me a little nervous, and I was like, man, I have to play my butt off for the rest of the day. So we're going into round 4, I got matched against red-blue items, and I immediately freaked out because that deck is known to be a really tough matchup because all their stuff just kills your stuff with Sapphire Coil. You just can't survive once they get established. But luckily, game 1, they didn't see the dime coming, so they let my Tamatoa live, and I played dime, and then I was able to squeeze out the win before they stabilized in game 1. And then game 2, it was really unfortunate. They literally showed me their hand at the end of the game. They bricked with 3 big Sisus and 1 little Sisu in hand, and they didn't even get past 3 or 4 ink, I don't think. It was a really unfortunate thing to see. But yeah, I luckily squeezed by round 4 against my worst matchup, 2-0. And then round 5, my opponent and I decided to intentional draw, which unfortunately meant I was going to be the 7 seed going into Top Cut. We kind of did some math and we thought it was worth it just to make sure neither one of us bubbled out. We were just gonna ID and both get a chance at Top Cut. The deck that I wasn't prepared to play, which was Amber Steel, I thought there wasn't gonna be that much of it, so I played Blurple. It ended up being a really popular deck. I think it was the most popular deck, was Steel Song. And then Red Purple behind that, maybe. Through my first 4 rounds, I did not match against Amber Steel, and I was so happy about it. So top 8, I played another Red Purple. This is the 3rd different Red Purple player I played today. They were running a very traditional list. They were playing the Queen's Castle, the Library, Rabbits, Little Sisus, Tremaines, the whole works. So it was a very traditional Red Purple list, and I was just able to outvalue them. I won 2-1, so it wasn't like I just ran over them. Every game was so grindy. I think it took us a full like 90 minutes to finish this best of 3 match because it was just such a grindy game. But I was eventually able to just kind of run them out of cards. Dime won me 1 game, and then the other game, it was just an attrition war that I ended up surviving. So I got past top 8 on the draw, and all 3 of my Top Cut games, I was the lower seed, so I had to go 2nd. So top 4 against Steel Song. Game 1 on the draw, they just ran over me. I literally didn't have a character stick for a turn. I did not get to do anything. It was literally 5 turns and the game was over. So that was horrible, and I was like, well, there goes my day. Game 2, it was kind of the same thing, but on my end, actually. I played Belle on 1, and I got to sing Friends, and then I went Tipo into Fox, so I really kept control of their board in Game 2, and it was almost a non-game for me on the other side, so that was great. Going into Game 3, I got kind of lucky because they didn't have any songs in the early game. So I got my Tipo to stick, and then I got a Fox to stick. And so it was kind of game over from there once I stabilized with Elsa and Belle. And yeah, it was really hard. I was relying on Iago a lot in my red-purple matchup. Iago was another card that I haven't even mentioned yet, but it was so good against red-purple because you could just play it on 3, and they have no answer for it. You follow it up with an Elsa, and it kills anything they play. So not being able to rely on Iago against Steel Song was super hard, but I ended up making it work in Game 3. They didn't draw into their songs early enough, and I was able to clear their board, play some big bombs. So yeah, I was super thrilled to be going into the finals. Lo and behold, I'm playing in the finals against the one person that beat me today, and that was the Red Purple Shark player. He actually came down from Memphis. Shout out to Alexis. He was a really great guy, fun to meet. He was very patient and considerate player. But yeah, so at the end of the day, I'm having to play another Red Purple matchup so I knew I was in for a grindy match. That's an understatement, honestly. So yeah, Game 1, I'm on the draw against the #1 seed, and I missed ramp. And it was the most frustrating and discouraging part of my day, was not having anything on turn 2 against Red Purple. It's a sad day, but sometimes it happens. And I really never did anything that game. He just kind of ran away with it. If you're not ramping in Blurple, you're not really playing. So that was horrible. Game 2, I did cheat out a dime for free again. It's like really hard to kill Tamatoa for Red Purple if you're Blurple going first, because you're ramping, you're playing Tamatoa on 5, and then they're following up on their turn 5. They would have to have an Elsa 5-drop and enough power on board to kill you. So the setup is huge. So if you can kind of keep the board clear for Tamatoa, when he comes down, he's hard to kill. So I was able to cheat out a dime and win. And then Game 3 was a super slog. It was crazy. He got a shark to stick. I didn't have an answer for it right away, so the board kind of stalled for a few turns. I was eventually able to Hades it. He played another shark. He got to use the shark actually for a friend's, and then he bounced back his shark with Fox. And it was weird at the end of the game because I knew he had shark in his hand the whole time, so I couldn't turn my character sideways with his Peter Pan on board. And I was just kind of trying to grow my board wide because he only had the shark in his hand, and I was like, so he doesn't have the B prep. So as long as I can just build up a wide enough board, maybe I can quest in one turn. He just kind of petered out, ran out of cards, and I was able to draw into dime actually. And at the end of the game winning play was actually me playing the 8-drop Elsa Spirit of Winter, tapping dime on it for 3 lore, and then questing out with like a Hades and a Genie on board or something like that. How ironically, but like perfectly fitting is it to play the card you're winning the card with? It was insane. Great fights all the way through Top Cut, man. There was so many times where I was just like, oh, I'm out of it, I'm done. But the deck held true. That's what I love about Blurple is you can just keep playing Friends, Finders Keepers, Tamatoas, and drawing cards. You always have options, you always have decisions. Whereas with the deck that I've been playing, Steel Song, you know, like if you don't see Whole New World or Rapunzel, you're not drawing cards and you can just easily peter out. Yeah, it felt really good to win with a deck that was not Amber Steel. And it felt really good to win a tournament this size. This is definitely my biggest tournament win ever. Like I've won locals and like little enchanted tournaments and stuff, but I've never won a set champs. And so being able to win a 29 player tournament and bring home a, like, I don't know, $800 card, something like that. I don't know what they're going for right now, but man, it was really special. And let me know what you guys think about the list. If there's anything you would change, any suggestions you have. Thank you guys so much for watching, and be on the lookout for more videos from me soon. I've got some more gameplay videos. I've got some tournament recap videos coming your way. So subscribe and like if you haven't already done that, if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.